The mining colony on Zerath 7 had been humanity's proudest achievement in the Outer Rim, until the ground opened up and swallowed it whole. Arya stood at the edge of the chasm, her helmet's display flickering with radiation warnings. 3 kilometers down, past layers of crystallized methane and compressed rock, her crew was trapped. The rescue teams had already turned back. Too dangerous, they'd said. The pit was still collapsing, still hungry. She didn't care. Beside her, Koro whimpered, a sound that didn't match his size. The Torvalian battle companion stood nearly 2 meters at the shoulder, bioengineered muscle wrapped around a titanium skeleton. The Galactic Council had gifted him to Arya 5 years ago, when humanity first proved they could survive in Council space. A cub then barely passed his first molting. Now he was a weapon, designed to protect her at all costs. "Stay," Arya commanded, checking her descent cables one final time. Koro's 3 eyes fixed on her, pupils dilating in distress. His translator collar crackled. "Danger. Structural integrity. 0.3%. Survival probability? I know the numbers." Arya's voice was flat. She'd run them herself a dozen times. The pit was a death trap, but her daughter was down there, her crew, her responsibility. She stepped off the edge. The first 50 meters were controlled, her cables singing as they played out, her suit's thrusters making micro-adjustments. Then the wall beside her exploded outward. A chunk of rock the size of a cargo hauler tumbled past, trailing sparks and debris. Her cables snapped. Arya fell. Her thrusters screamed, fighting gravity and momentum. Not enough. Never enough. The pit walls blurred past, jagged and hungry. Her suit's AI was shouting warnings, but all she could think about was impact. Something massive slammed into her from above. Arms wrapped around her torso. No, not arms. Limbs. Multiple limbs, each one strong enough to crush steel. Koro had jumped. "No!" Arya screamed into her helmet. "Koro, no! You stupid—" The first collision with the pit wall came like a bomb. Koro took the impact full on, his body wrapping around hers like a living shield. She felt the shockwave through his body, bones breaking with sounds like gunfire. His translator collar sparked and died, but he didn't let go. They tumbled, spinning through the dark. Arya's suit lights flickered across Koro's face, and she saw his eyes, all 3 of them locked on hers. Not afraid, determined, another impact. Koro's back legs shattered against an outcropping, his spine bending at an angle that made Arya's stomach lurch. She felt his grip loosen for just a moment, then tighten again with desperate strength. One of his breathing vents was leaking atmosphere. She could see the vapor trail in her helmet lights. "Let go," she sobbed. "Koro, please, just let go." He didn't understand her words anymore. The translator was gone. But he understood her tone, and he refused. His forelimbs shifted, adjusting his grip, ensuring she remained cocooned in the center of his breaking body. The pit narrowed. They hit the walls again and again, each collision another symphony of breaking bones. Koro's exoskeleton was designed to withstand plasma weapons, to shrug off kinetic strikes that would pulverize concrete. But this was different. This was physics, raw and merciless. His body was disintegrating around her, and still he held on. Arya stopped fighting, stopped screaming. She reached up with one trembling hand and placed it against what remained of Koro's chest plating. His hearts, 3 of them, bioengineered to never stop, thundered beneath her palm like war drums. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." The Council had been wrong about humans, she thought distantly. They'd called humanity reckless, suicidal, too emotional to be trusted with real power in the galactic community. They'd given her Koro as a babysitter, really. A guardian to keep the impulsive human from doing something stupid. But Koro wasn't holding her because of his programming. Battle companions were intelligent, more intelligent than most Council species admitted. He was holding her because 5 years ago she'd stayed up 3 nights straight nursing him through his first molting fever, because she'd learned his language, the real one, not the translated version, because when the Council had wanted to upgrade him, replace his organic components with more efficient cybernetics, she'd fought them for 6 months until they backed down, because she'd told him, once, that he was family, and now he was dying for her. The pit bottom rushed up to meet them, a floor of compacted debris and twisted metal. No more walls to hit, just the final stop. Koro's grip shifted one last time. With strength that shouldn't have been possible from a body so broken, he rotated, placing his back between Arya and the ground. They hit. The world went white. Then red. Then nothing. Arya woke to the sound of her suit's emergency beacon and the hiss of escaping air. She was alive. Somehow impossibly alive. Her ribs were broken, she could feel the grinding when she breathed. But she was alive. Beneath her, Koro lay motionless. His body was barely recognizable anymore. More blood and broken parts than living creature, but his arms. His broken, shattered arms were still wrapped around her. No, Arya breathed. She triggered her suit's medical scanner. Flatline. All 3 hearts silent. She pressed her helmet against what remained of his chest. No, no, no. Koro, please. Don't do this. Don't you dare. A flutter. Faint. Impossible. 1 heart struggling to beat. Arya's hands flew across her suit's emergency medical kit. Stims. Coagulants. Everything she had. The Council had designed Torvalians to be indestructible, but they'd never tested them like this. Never asked them to break every bone in their body and keep fighting. But Koro had. For her. Stay with me, she commanded, injecting the stims directly into his main arterial line. That's an order, soldier. You stay with me. Above them, lights appeared. The rescue team, finally brave enough to descend now that the pit had stopped collapsing. They'd pull her daughter out, save her crew, all because Arya had been crazy enough to jump, and Koro had been crazy enough to follow. Humanity hadn't earned their place in the Council through wisdom or caution. They'd earned it through sheer, stubborn refusal to let their people die alone in the dark, and they'd taught at least one Torvalian the same lesson. Koro's eye cracked open. Just one. The other two too damaged. He looked at Arya, and despite everything, despite the pain that must have been unimaginable, his translator-less expression said everything. Worth it. Yeah. Arya whispered, her voice breaking. Yeah, it was. The Council would call them both fools, reckless, emotional. They'd be right. But her daughter would go home. Her crew would survive. And Koro, broken, stupid, loyal Koro, would be carried up from this pit a hero. That was the thing about humanity that the Council never understood. They didn't measure success in survival rates or logical outcomes. They measured it in who they refused to leave behind, even if it meant breaking every bone in the process.